As a kid, the standard jobs you wanted to become were like a doctor or an astronaut or a police officer or whatever. Personally, I wanted to be a policewoman, but I was like 7 and eventually figured out that being a police officer would be a drag. So I looked around for more options. Later on, there were a lot more things I wanted to be: astronomer, pottery maker, forensic scientist, jam shop owner in Wyoming, local grandma. There were plenty. It wasn't until 11th grade where I started to think about my life in 10 years. Baby Mariel survived. Present Mariel is surviving. What would 27-year-old Mariel be doing? You'd think I would say, man, I want to live peacefully, maybe have a couple of cats, get married, have children, and die. But no. My initial thought was to live in the mountains and fight bears. But that's not realistic. So I thought, why not become a writer? But you and I both know I'm horrible at keeping up with deadlines and procrastination. So I chose the next best thing, a book editor. That's right, I'm hard at reading and annotating and grammar, but I'll become a book editor. Imagine a celebrity, Ariana Grande or BTS or whomever. Now, that celebrity has a manager to schedule their appointments and take care of the person, right? Or people in BTS's case. Well, a book editor is basically a manager to the author whose book they're publishing. They don't deal with TV shows or performances like how idol managers work. However, they do have to work with others to advertise, market, and discuss the book they'll be publishing. On top of that, they also have to edit, revise, and review the author's manuscript. All of this can't be done just once either. It has to be repeated over and over again. Yeah, all of this for one book. One. Being a book editor is practically for a workaholic. The pay isn't that good either. The median annual salary was $63,200, around $30 per hour, in 2009, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This may seem like a lot, but for the amount of work you put in, yeah, not that great. On the other hand, the top 10% get more than $122,000, and the bottom 10 get less than $35,000. As I was researching this, one article said that I'd really have to do all this work out of love. And I think that really applies. The basic skill sets an editor needs is managing schedules, being able to work in a group, being detail-oriented, reading and writing skills, and these days you'd probably have to be tech-savvy since ebooks are more convenient and becoming more of a thing. Editors usually juggle more than one publication project, so being able to manage their work schedule is a must. You can have a meeting for one author on one day, and the next hour or so, you have a meeting with the illustrator who is drawing the cover of the children's novel another author is publishing. Not only that, but you'd have to make sure your authors are making deadlines and keeping up their work. Another thing is collaborativeness. An editor is talking to their authors, their advertisers, marketing team, illustrators, many people. They also have to be super detail-oriented. One overlook and the book they're publishing can receive major backlash. And the reading and writing skills are kind of self-explanatory. Of course, like many other job categories, there are different kinds of books you can publish too. Children's picture books, like the Mouse Cookie one, or Goodnight Moon or something, which are for like 5 to 9 years olds. Children's novels, Percy Jackson series, Harry Potter, you've heard of them. Young adult novels, typical teenage romance books are the only ones I can remember off the top of my head. Like Twilight. Graphic novels, like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Aquaman, very strong angry green man, all the mans in the world. And even non-fiction books like dictionaries or informative books about Egypt or the history of China. Personally, I'm interested in young adult or children's novels, for obvious reasons. Of course, it's more fun, and who doesn't look for fun? The work environment for an editor is for the typical office worker. Getting coffee in the morning, sitting at your desk for the next 12 hours, getting up only to eat lunch and immediately go back to work, then going home to your dark and lonely house. Then the cycle repeats again. I'm starting to regret wanting to become a book editor. Moving on, editors have bachelor degrees in English or communications, but most jobs don't really look for that. As long as you like reading and have an eye for a good book, then you're probably good for the job. But the most important thing about this job is the work experience. Think about it. Rather than having some dude who has all of the educational qualifications but can't handle the workload, is not going to do very well. This guy's name is going to be Bob. On the other hand, someone who can handle the workload, Rob, but is a little bit worse off in terms of education compared to Bob, is going to be better. Tell me, would you hire Bob or Rob? The answer is Rob. He can probably learn the ropes as he works there, but Bob is a pathetic excuse of a human being who doesn't think the Oxford comma is relevant. The job outlook of a book editor isn't up for much change. There's going to be a 2% decline within the next 10 years. But that's about it. However, job offers will most likely start to decrease as people become more reliant on the internet for pirated book content. Currently, there's about 131,200 jobs right now as either a writer or editor. But if you do the math, we'll have 3,000 less jobs. You know what? This sounds like a bad idea. I'm gonna just head to the mountains. Ciao.